this is Gina. Today I'm going to show you how to make this tassel. And then I show you a couple of different ways you can do it. You can either use a cone bead or you can use a big bead like I did here. I've also added a few charms and put it on a split ring so that it can be used as a keychain. And when it hangs like this. It's really pretty cute. I'm trying to show you, but yeah, it's cute. And you can also put it on perhaps a cute little clip like this one. It's kind of like a lobster claw clasp. You can also see this opens like that, and you can clip it on your purse, so just the tassel, whatever you want to do, so that it can be a purse charm. Or you can make just the tassel itself, 2 of them, and make them into earrings, or you can use the tassel for a pendant, whatever you would like. Today I have, like I said, made a keychain. I've made a couple extra charms, and I show you how to do the whole process of the keychain on the video here. So let's look and see what you will need for this project. Let's go over the list of things we'll be using today. This is all optional. You can change out to almost anything you would like to make your tassel with. You don't have to embellish it with little charms like I'm going to. You don't have to make a keychain. You can just make the tassel and make it a pendant, a pair of earrings, whatever you'd like. But for what I'm using today, I'm going to show you a couple of options and show you what I have used in my actual project. So you will need a slip ring if you're going to make a keychain. This is a very large slip ring, and because it's so large and I don't make my loops quite large enough to slide it on once I make my tassel, I'm using some jump rings. So if you have a smaller one, you can just slide your tassel on here. If you're going to use charms, just make larger loops and you don't need jump rings. However, I am glad that I used the jump rings because I can hook them on each other in different ways to make my charms and my tassel attach differently and lay differently. So if you want to do it the way I've done it, then use a slip ring and then get some jump rings. This is a heavy gauge, nice, strong, large jump ring. It's 8 millimeters in diameter. Make sure you use it as strong. It doesn't necessarily have to be as big as mine, but make sure that they're strong ones because otherwise they just won't hold up. I'm going to use 4 of those and 1 slip ring. Now if you don't want to use a slip ring, you want to make a purse charm, you can get something like one of these little clasps. You can get a large lobster claw, you can get this little heart shape, like whatever you want, and just attach a jump ring to your tassel and attach it to this and hook it on your purse or whatever you would like to. Either or, you don't need both. Then you'll need some 15-0 seed beads, or if you're using check, you can use 11-0. 15-0s in toe hole, which is what this is about the same size as an 11-0 check seed bead. So you can use that. I'm using a nickel plate silver toho for my 15-0, and you're going to need a pretty good amount of them. I have a nice little pile here because you're going to use 6 of these per strand that we create, and we're going to create 10 strands. So put yourself out a good little pile. And then, like I said, this is an 15-0 toho. And then you're going to need a couple of head pins. If you are going to use charms that are beads, then you will need to make a loop for them. And I have 2 beads. I have this butterfly and this heart, and so I'm going to create loops for them with 2 head pins. If you have charms that do not have that are not beads, that have the loop like this key charm does, then you will not need the head pins. So I'm using a butterfly, a heart, and a key. I also had a leaf out and was going to use it and decided not to. So you can use whatever you'd like as far as your charms are concerned. And you can use as many as you'd like. I'm using 3. Then you will need a large hole bead or a cone. This is a large hole Euro bead, like the Euro bracelets. You can, you just need one large hole bead. This one has just little sparklies on the outside, and it's kind of pretty, so I'm going to use it. Then you want a bead that will fit nicely on top of your large hole bead. It doesn't matter what it is. Mine is a metal, kind of rondel shape, textured. Yours does not have to be a metal bead. It does not have to be the same shape as mine. As long as it fits nice on top, you can use whatever you would like. Just a bead that fits on top of your large hole bead. It'll be fine. Or you can use a cone bead. If you use a cone bead, you don't necessarily have to have a bead to go on top of it. You can if you want to, but it's not necessary. Now, you'll use either a cone or a large hole bead. You don't need both. Then you'll need some crystals, or you can use seed beads. You can use little tiny pearls, whatever you would like. These are a 3x2 Chinese crystal rondel. And I'm using two colors. It doesn't look like two colors, but one's a little bit lighter than the other. They're both clear with silver embellishment on them. This one has a lighter kind of silver tone to it, and this one is half silver. And so I'm going to do a strand of these, then a strand of these, then a strand of these, then a strand of these. You don't have to do it that way. You can use all one color. You can do whatever you'd like. You can use 3, 4 colors. It doesn't matter. You'll need about 150 of them if you make the same amount of strands as I do. Then you'll need some tools for this project. Well, first let's talk about our wire. We need a little piece of wire. This is art wire. You can use anything that's soft 20 gauge wire. That's what this is a soft 20 gauge art wire, silver tone, and I've cut 2.5 inches of it. So 2.5 inches of a soft 20 gauge wire. Then you will need some tools. So I am using a chain nose and a flat nose plier. You can use 2 chain nose, you can use 2 flat nose, doesn't matter. It's nice to have 2 to manipulate your wire with. You'll need some wire cutters, and you'll need some round nose pliers. Then you'll also need a pair of scissors. You will need some fireline. I'm using 6-pound fireline. You can use any beading thread you want, but I'm using 6-pound fireline, and I'm using the crystal tone since I'm using light beads. Now, I'm using 6 pounds simply because it's lighter and will make my beads flow a little bit nicer. And I'm using 15-0 seed beads, going through them a couple of times, so I want to make sure that my thread isn't going to fill up my beads and I can't pass through them. So I'm using 6-pound fireline. You will need about a yard, a full wingspan, whichever, on a size 10 beading needle or a size 12 beading needle, and we will get started. Okay, so we're going to start with our piece of wire. I have measured 1 inch on my 2.5 inch piece of wire and just bent it a little bit so I can see right where it's at. And then I'm going to grab my round nose pliers. Now, on your round nose pliers, just select an area. I'm just going to go down about 1/4 of the way, and I am going to make my loop there. Now, if you don't want to use jump rings to slide on your slip ring clasp to make a keychain, then you can make bigger loops down here. The further down you go on your pliers, the bigger your loop is going to be. I'm going to go right about here. And then I'm going to just bend my wire over my pliers. Then I'm going to move my pliers up on top, right in the middle of the bend here. So just put your pliers in the bend, and then bring the wire that remains, the short side, over your beading wire or your beading pliers. And then as you do that, just kind of turn your beading pliers and create a loop, like so. Then you will grab, I'm using my flat nose pliers, and I'm going to get pretty close here, and I'm just going to bend my wire up like so. And then I'm going to, you can use your round nose pliers if you want. I'm going to get my chain nose pliers, and I'm going to start wrapping my extra length around the long part of my wire. And I'm just going to go about 2.5 turns here. Let's pull it tight, make it nice and neat like so, and then take your, let me show you what I've got and get closer. I had to be far away or I would get out of camera while I'm bending wire. I always do. So this is what I've got. Now I'm going to take my wire cutters and I'm going to get real close, cover it up so it doesn't fly up in your eye, and cut that. Now you can see I have a little bit of a tail left. I'm just going to get my flat nose pliers and I'm going to push that tail down and straighten up my loop. And this is what I have. Okay, once you have created your loop, then you are going to tie a knot. So I'm just going to pull, I'm going to go through my loop with my needle. I'm going to pull my thread to the end, leaving just a small tail, and then I'm going to tie a knot. I'm going to tie probably 2 or 3 knots actually. Just make sure this is nice and secure onto my loop. Okay, once I've done that, I pulled a little bit more tail than I want. I'm going to cut it a little bit. You don't have to leave a lot, but leave some so that you can hold on to it. Your knot won't slide off until you've established several fringes. Then you don't have to worry about it so much, and you can cut it off a little bit more. But I'm just going to hold it back like this, and then I'm going to start making some fringes. So I'm trying to tighten that knot. There we go. Now I am going to start with small beads on top. Now you can use an 11-0, but I have 15-0s out, so I'm going to use 15-0s. I prefer that. They're smaller. I'm going to pick up 5 15-0 seed beads. And then I am going to pick up 15 crystals onto my needle. Now these are clear and it's hard for me to see the hole, so it'll probably take me forever, but I'm going to pick up about 15. So that's 5. Let's see, I have 3, 6, 9, 12. I need one more. 15. And it all depends on how long you want your fringe to be, how many beads that you pick up. So whether you're using seed beads or whatever, just make sure you know how many they are so that you can make each one the same. And then pick up a small end bead, whatever you're using for your stop bead. I'm using a 15-0 seed bead, and bring this down to the loop. Once you're down to the loop, then you are going to, let me rearrange my camera so I stay in frame here. Then you are going to go around the 15-0 seed bead. So you're not going to go into it, you're going to go around it, and then you're going to go up through all of your beads, just to make sure, get them all, go all the way through all the crystals, and then go through the 15-0s also on top. The 15-0s are on top so that as you're making these, there will be a little bit of room for each strand to lay next to each other nicely. Otherwise, if you just have your fat beads next to each other, they don't lay quite as nicely. You can do that if you would like, especially if you're just using 15-0 seed beads. or if you're just using 11 seed beads or whatever. But because I'm using crystals and they're a little wider, I've elected to do a few smaller beads on top, just so that it gives room for my beads to lay nicely in the loop. Now I've come up through all my 15 O's. I'm now going to go through the loop again. Once you get up through the loop, grab a hold of your 15 seed bead and just pull a little bit to make that come up to the loop nice and neat, and just arrange them. Now you don't want them really tight to where they're buckled or pulling funny. You want a little bit of movement in it. So just, the slightest bit of slack, just slightly, so that they lay nice, like so. And then I've come back up through my loop. I'm going to just make a little loop around it. So I'm going to go around it again, like so. And then I'm going to pick up, so that just arranges my thread around it. And now I'm going to pick up 5 15 seed beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I'm going to pick up my 15 crystals, and I'm going to use my little darker color crystal here. 1, 2, 3. Let me get some out here. 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, there's 15. Then I need an 11 or a 15 seed bead, so I'm going to put one of those on and just drop this all down. Now, because I'm using 2 different types of beads, I want to make sure that one's a little bit bigger than the other. So what I'm going to do to accommodate that, let me see, my length. So when I use my darker ones, I think I'm just going to use 14. Let me see if I have the right count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I do. So considering that I'm going to put them very close together and see if they're the same length. Yeah, they're pretty close, so I'm just going to leave it. And if your beads are different sizes, then you may have to accommodate the number of beads that you put on. Then I'm going to go around this 15 seed bead. And I have to apologize for my hands. I was using a Sharpie and I drew on myself because I can't seem to use a Sharpie without drawing on myself. So go all the way up through all the beads again, and the little 15 on top. If you can't get through all of them without pulling your needle through, that's fine. Pull your needle through and then grab the ones you missed. Now I'm going to hold on to all my beads and pull my 15 stop bead up. Then I'm going to grab a hold of my 15 stop bead on the bottom, and I'm going to pull these up to the little loop, turn it over, adjust them, arrange them, like so. Then I'm going to go through my loop. I'm going to push this over here. Go through my loop, pull my little guy down here, and then I can start another fringe. So we're just going to continue making these fringes until you have the amount that you would like. You can make them very full, or you can make them not quite as full. I'm going to go ahead and continue making fringes just like I made these two. After I make each one, I will go through my loop and go around it again and make another. I'll push each one over so that they're nice and neat. They will start to kind of lay on top of each other. That's fine. Just make sure that you have them to where your thread isn't all tangled and funny on top through your loop. Make them as neatly as you can. Continue making them, and then I will be back to show you how many I have made. Okay, so I have done 4 now, and I want you to see how they're starting to kind of lay on top of each other, and that's what I want them to do. After I make each one, I go around the loop again and then start another one, and I just arrange them and pull them to where they're laying nicely, like such. And I will continue making these and be back to you and let you know exactly how many I end up with. Okay, so I have made 10 strands for the fringe here. Now, I have made my very last one. I find my last one here. Here it is. And I came up through, went around my loop another time, and I'm going to go around it one more time. So I'm just going to go through my loop and pull my thread down. Now I'm going to go back through this last strand and go around the 15-0 seed bead and back up through to secure this. So I have wrapped around my loop, and then I'm just going to sew back down through all of these beads in my last strand here. And just go back through all of them just to make sure that they don't bunch. Make sure you get through all of them. And you may have to exit and pull your thread through. Make sure it doesn't tangle on anything on top there. And then go through a few more. You might not be able to get them all at once. I've gone through the last crystal here. Now I'm going to go through my 15-0 seed bead. And then I'm going to travel back up through all of them. Get arranged here. And I'm going to go around the 15-0 now that I'm through it. And just go back up through all of these beads. Okay, so I've got them all, including my 15-0s, and I'm going to pull my needle up through, tighten it. I'm going to go into my loop again, right here. Pull my thread around, make a loop, go into it and tie a knot. Now, I want to make sure everything's nice and neat. Pull this tightly. And then I will make another knot. So I'm just going to go back through my loop. And tie another knot. And that should be pretty secure. So then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut a little ways away from my loop here. And I'm going to grab my lighter and I'm just going to melt this down. Sure, I don't have a lighter. Be right back. Okay, so I found one. I'm just going to put the lighter close, not really light it on fire. I'm just going to melt these down on both sides. Make sure once you get close to the loop itself, don't burn any of your other threads. Just gently melt it down. Let me straighten out my wire here. And then just pull them all together like so, and this is what you should have. Now we're going to take our big bead and we're going to slide it down like so. Now if you have a cone, you can take it and slide it down, and it'll actually cover all of your little seed beads. If you want that look, then use a cone bead and you'll have this look. I actually like this look a little better. I don't mind that my little seed beads show, and I get a little bit more movement, so I like that. Then straighten out your wire and take your top bead that fits on top of your big bead nicely, and then grab your round pliers. Now place your round pliers up on top of the bead, close to it, hold everything tight, and make a bend in your wire like so. Let me back off a little bit or I will get out of frame. Then move your pliers up into the bend that you created and wrap a loop around. Move your pliers a little bit and continue making your loop like so. Now adjust the size of your loop, adjust the way that it looks, and then grab either your flat nose pliers or your chain nose pliers and hold on to your loop. Now you can see I have some space between my beads and my loop. So what I'm going to do to fill that space and to secure this loop is grab my chain nose pliers, and I'm going to start to turn my wire. I'm going to center this loop a little bit better. And hold this down so gravity helps me here. And I'm just going to start to turn my loop. This will push everything into place as I turn it and tighten it. I'm going to take about 3 turns. Get it as tight as I can and straighten it out. And then I will cut that excess off there with my end cutters. I'm going to get real close to it and just cut it. And then I will take my chain nose pliers and I'll tuck that little tail of wire in and just straighten everything up. And get close so you can see it. And this is what I've ended up with. That's what I have. Now you can use this as a pendant, or let me get a couple little accessories and I can show you a couple other things you can do. Okay, so if you want to make a purse charm or something, you can just hook this on too. I have this large heart-shaped, kind of like a lobster claw clasp that opens like this, or you can get really large lobster claws that are the original shape also. And you can just grab a jump ring like this one. I have a nice big strong jump ring. I'm going to open it from side to side. I'm going to slide it onto this clasp, and then I'm going to slide it onto my tassel, and then I'm going to close this. And now I have a really cute little purse charm. And you can slide it onto your keychain, whatever you want. Or you can slide it onto split ring. Now my split ring is so big that my little loop doesn't want to slide anywhere but right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my jump ring back on. And I'm just going to open it up and I'm going to put it on the split ring like this. And then I can slide my keys on there or whatever. just make sure you shut your jump ring. Use a nice heavy jump ring and shut it tight so that it doesn't fall off. And then I think I'm going to make a couple little other charms to go with this. And let me find a few things I want to use, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that, and we'll decorate up this keychain and make it really cute. Okay, so I have found a few charms. I have this leaf too. I don't know if I'll put that on or not, but I found a few little charms, and this one is a bead. It's a butterfly, and I'm just going to slide a eye pin up through it, and then I'm going to take my round nose pliers and bend a loop. Move up into the curve, bend it around. Now these eye pins are a little bit harder wires, so it takes me a little bit more manipulation here. I've made a loop. I'm going to hold on to it and wrap my loop. And grab my pliers here. And I'm just going to start wrapping it around. Until you get a nice secure loop. Like I said, I'm not the best wire wrapper in the world, but I make an effort. There we go. Now I'm going to cut the excess off. And I'll get a little closer than that. Then I'll tuck the end in. This butterfly is funny shaped, so it's hard for me to get down real close to the bead. Oh. I give up. There, that's better. Then I'm going to make my loop a little bit nicer here. And there's one charm. And then for the keychain, or the key, I'm just going to open, or I could just slide it right on, actually. I think I'm just going to slide it on, see how it moves. If it doesn't move well, no, it's too small. So I have to use a jump ring. I'm going to open this jump ring, slide it on my key, put it on here so I don't have to slide it through, and close it nice and tight. Now I've got one charm there. Now, I don't know if I made this loop big enough to go around. Probably not. So I'm going to get a couple more jump rings. If you have a really big slip ring like I do, make your loop larger. I didn't think about it. I should have done that. But I've got some large jump rings, so I will just grab another one of those and open it up. And slide my butterfly on. And see, I'll put it on this side. And close it. Get over there, you. And then, do I want the leaf? Let's try it. Let's see what it looks like. It might be too big. And get another jump ring. Open it up. And I'll slide this one on too. If you have a smaller slip ring, then you can just slip these on. Mine is monster size, so I had to improvise. Look at that. And then I can make my little heart. And it just depends on how many you want on there. And maybe I did, yeah. I'm going to take a little crystal and put it on, if it'll fit. Yeah. I'm going to put it on my head pin and slide it through my heart. And then I'll make another loop. Yeah, I didn't make it big. I'll just have to put it on a jump ring again. You'd think I would have thought about that, huh? Let's slide around here. Close it. Cut it off here. And then push down that wire, the little end here. That's not too bad. Yeah, maybe it is. Right where the dip of the heart and the butterfly, both, it's difficult. Okay, then I'm going to grab another jump ring, if I can find one that matches what I've been using. Here's one. And open it. Slide this on. And put it on my jump ring too. Or on my slip ring. Close it. And now I have a hodgepodge of stuff. And it's pretty cute. Actually, what I think I might do is I might open this jump ring with the little key on it, if I can. There it is. And I'm going to slide it on the ring of the tassel, just to make it hang a little bit differently. I think I might even do that with the heart or the butterfly, one of the two, just to get a little bit of different levels on my keychain. Just playing with it, see what I can come up with. Just be creative and just do whatever you want. So now I have, I don't know if I like that big leaf. Let's see, let's put the heart over here. Yeah, I don't think I like the leaf. I'm going to take it off. This is the way I mess with stuff. I just keep going until I find something I like. It's basically called art, I guess. There we go. And there's my new little keychain. And I think it's pretty cute. Of course, you could put some crystals on there. You could do whatever you want. Make it look. And I have an idea. I'm going to take this off of the loop of my tassel and put it on the jump ring that connects my tassel so that it makes one more step up. So I'll put it on this jump ring right here. close it again. Yeah, that works better. So you can see it has different levels. And they're not all just hanging in front of my tassel, making my tassel all messy looking. So I think that looks cute. And that's how you make a tassel. And that's just one of the things you can do with it. Of course, you can slide this on a necklace too. And I may make another and make a necklace. So I may make one with the little cone. I don't know. And that's how you make a tassel. Hope you enjoyed this video.